Screen News Digest is brought to you as a public service by the Pepsi-Cola Metropolitan Bottling Company of Michigan.
The People's Republic of China, 1972. History in the making. Recorded and reported exclusively in sight and sound by the Screen News Digest. President Nixon's plane, christened the Spirit of 76, taxis to a stop on the runway of the Peking airport. And Premier Zhou Enlai moves forward to greet the first American president to set foot on Chinese soil. East meets west as a handshake bridges 16,000 miles and 22 years of hostility. There are no welcoming speeches, no formal ceremonies, just a receiving line made up of Communist Party officials and a military band playing the Star-Spangled Banner. The ceremonies, brief but diplomatically correct, are quickly over, and the president and premier are soon on their way, driving through a long avenue of poplar trees, planted exactly 15 feet apart. The bamboo curtain is opened to reveal a city where the average worker earns $33 a month. But if wages are low, so too are living costs. A two-room apartment rents for less than $13 a year, and the ordinary citizen spends only $4 a month on food. Streets are clean, crime is rare, and marriage forbidden under 20 years of age. For President Nixon, a sudden change in schedule. A surprise meeting with Mao Zedong, an honor last bestowed during the first day of a state visit on former Premier Nikita Khrushchev. Dr. Henry Kissinger sits in on the talks that are animated, constructive, and frank. At the summit, face to face, two leaders who direct the destiny of 1 out of 3 persons on the earth. The gate to friendly contact, says Zhou Enlai, has finally been opened. At night, by means of global television, the world is invited to a glittering state banquet in the Great Hall of the People. 800 diplomats and dignitaries from the free and communist worlds feast on Chinese delicacies and listen to American music. Offering a traditional toast, President Nixon quotes Mao Zedong.
Chairman Mao has written, "So many deeds cry out to be done, and always urgently. The world rolls on. Time passes. 10,000 years are too long. Seize the day. Seize the hour. This is the hour. This is the day.
Peking newspapers, which had played down the Nixon visit, now give it front-page coverage. Dealers sell out as readers follow day by day the president's activities. Included is an evening at the Beijing Opera to see a ballet, The Red Detachment of Women, that depicts the overthrow of a cruel landlord by female communist partisans. Next to President Nixon is Jiang Qing, wife of Mao Zedong. President Nixon and Premier Zhou meet 4 times for a total of more than 8 hours. We cannot close the gulf between us, the president tells Zhou, but we can try to bridge it and continue to talk across it. While the formal talks are going on, Mrs. Nixon makes an informal visit to an elementary school in a Peking commune. The First Lady, a former teacher, hears a student recite his multiplication tables.
Hello there. How are you? I got you.
Next, a visit to the kitchen of the Beijing Hotel, where some of the world's finest Chinese food is prepared.
Isn't that fascinating, the way that each thing is prepared separately? Boy, you cook up quite a storm.
Finally, the Beijing Zoo, where the giant pandas are the most famous of the 4,000 animals on display.
Hi there.
Nick, do you have any ideas for names in case you got a couple of these from Mr. Zhou?
Well, no, I'm sure that they won't be for me. They'll be for the American people, and somebody else will have a chance to name them. Maybe they already have names. There'll be a big scramble for the zoo that gets them.
Oh, you bet.
They're very precious.
At night, the Nixons join Premier Zhou and 18,000 Chinese sports fans for a 2-hour spectacle of gymnastics and table tennis. Ping-pong diplomacy has brought an American president halfway around the world on a landmark journey for peace. Tea is served as the performers continue to entertain their American guests with an acrobatic exhibition of strength and skill. The Nixons are caught up in the tradition and spirit of the closing ceremonies. A highlight of the historic journey, a visit to the Great Wall. Once designed to keep Mongolian warriors from overrunning the frontiers of ancient China, the wall snakes across the countryside for 1,684 miles. A people that can build a wall like this, the president says, certainly have a great past to be proud of. As we look on this wall, Mr. Nixon adds, we do not want walls of any kind between people. Snow falls on Peking as the president's car on the 5th day travels toward the legendary Forbidden City. In this enigmatic land of strange and contrasting sights, still another unique glimpse of life in communist China. Thousands of men and women with primitive tools and equipment take to the streets to sweep away the snow and scrape away the ice. Here in the Forbidden City, China's emperors lived for centuries in magnificent splendor. Death was the penalty for anyone who entered uninvited. Today, the president walks among priceless treasures from China's golden age. Among them, a pair of ear stoppers used by the emperor to keep from hearing criticism.
You put the stopper into his ears so that he couldn't hear the criticism.
Give me a pair.
So when the emperor was pleased and wanted to listen to the ministers, then he took them off. And when he wouldn't hear them, he put it on. This is just like me. He has gray hair now. Snow.
All right. So have I.
我也有啊。
And this has just been marvelous today.
今天非常的好。
Goodbye. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your help. Now search everybody before they leave. Be sure they didn't take something in their pocket.
所以你们啊，说每个人都赶快搜一搜兜吧，看看他们有没有把你们的东西给带走一点。
The Peking part of the Chinese journey is ended. Now, on the 6th day, it is on to Hangzhou, one of the most picturesque cities on the mainland. The president and premier walked through the parks of West Lake, first described for the Western world by Marco Polo in the 13th century. There is almost a camaraderie, a relaxed mood that finds expression in the president's tribute to the beauties of Hangzhou and his tongue-in-cheek toast to his Chinese voice.
Now that we have seen the splendor of this city, we realize why it has been said that heaven is above and beneath are Hangzhou and Suzhou. I propose tonight a toast to my Chinese voice, to Mrs. Zhang. I listened to her translation. She got every word right.
The final stop on the fateful journey is Shanghai, where a joint communiqué acknowledges basic differences between the two countries, but at the same time affirms broad agreement in certain areas. These include a promise to work toward the normalization of relations and to seek ways of preventing international war. Visiting the Shanghai Exposition Hall, the president admits his mechanical shortcomings.
Machinery always impresses me because I know nothing about it.
Crowds surround and press close to Mr. Nixon.
All I could do was change a tire on a car. I learned that when I worked in the...
Here in China's most modern city are the signs and evidence of a country struggling furiously to build and grow. But there are also reminders in sight and sound, beauty and grace of a culture and heritage that are among the oldest on Earth. And so it ends, the 8 days, the landmark journey that are but one small step in the search for a new and better understanding in Sino-American relations.
It is the common desire of the Chinese and American people to enhance their mutual understanding and friendship and promote the normalization of relations between China and the United States.
This magnificent banquet marks the end of our stay in the People's Republic of China. We have been here a week. This was the week that changed the world.
The Screen News Digest has been brought to you by the Pepsi-Cola Metropolitan Bottling Company of Michigan. Remember, you've got a lot to live, and Pepsi's got a lot to give.